There can be as much hype as they like and as many tournaments that exist around the world. No championship will ever compare to the Open Championship. I'm neither British, I'm neither American. So I look at it from an outside point of view. The Open is inundated with history, a tradition, played on golf courses that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. Replicas have been tried on many occasions to reproduce, but they cannot do it in the style and the ambience that exists here in Scotland and in Britain. It's the oldest major championship of all. It has the most history. Every superstar that has ever lived has played in this championship. And all I can say is when I know that my name is on that trophy 3 times on the regular and 3 times on the senior, 6 times a British or an Open champion, I'll go to my grave a very happy man, knowing that I passed the ultimate test. You can play in the Masters, the US Open and the PGA, which are all marvelous tournaments. But when it's a 7-iron, it's always 160 yards for me. 160 yards here today might be an 8-iron, it might be a wedge, and tomorrow it might be a 3. So you've got to use your imagination. And the Open punishes you and tests your skill, but it also tests your mettle to see if you can thrive in adversity. So there's nothing to compare to the Open. Money has never been the criteria for me. I've played the game and I practiced, and this pair of hands hit more balls than any man that ever lived. I wanted to be the best player in the world. I wanted to have the best world record. And I think, if I may say, I achieved that. I've won more tournaments around the world in different places and tournaments of importance. Now, in my time, we didn't have jets where you could fly off to China and India, and they didn't have a world tour. We had to travel tourist class, sitting in an aeroplane, taking 40 hours to get to our destination. But it's been an absolute marvelous time, a marvelous journey. Yes, I got £1,000. I probably gave my caddy £2,000, but it was the joy of winning. And traveling around the world, staying with people in their private homes, things that don't happen today. We have a saying in our business, there's no substitute for personal contact, and that existed way more than exists today with the average man in the street. There's nobody playing golf today that could play golf like Tiger. Tiger was on the way to being the greatest player the world had ever known, maybe the greatest athlete the world had ever known. And whether he'll come back or not, I don't know. I sincerely hope so, because golf needs Tiger Woods. He did things that were absolutely amazing, and he was not really a good driver of the ball. He put the ball in places that I never visited in my life and made birdies. Now that's really talent. He's had a lot of difficulties to encounter. And if he can come back, it will be fantastic. He has a lot of gas in the tank, as they say. The problem is, and the sad thing is, that when he won the US Open by 15 shots, a few weeks later he was having lessons, and then later on changed to another coach, and then another coach, and he's had probably 4 or 5 coaches, and he's got so confused that it'll take him a little while to unwind. And when he does, I hope he comes back and does well. But he has a monumental task ahead of him. Playing badly is good for you. You don't learn a lot when you play well. And I think Rory will either win the US Open or the Open here. This course here at St Andrews, there's never been a golf course. This and the Masters are made for Rory. I think Rory will win the Grand Slam, because Augusta just is made for him as St Andrews to draw the ball and hit it a long way. I think there's too much emphasis put on long hitting. What I do like, he has a magnificent swing. He's a wonderful young man, but so is Jordan Spieth. And Jordan Spieth has the missile of golf in his armor. He is the best putter. Watch out for the best putter. The swing is not the thing. I've seen people with terrible swings who are outstanding champions. The mind is something that I worked on and still do today. I did mind exercises and mind training that very few athletes have done, and it stood me in good stead. Being of small stature against these giants, I beat them as many times as they beat me, and it was purely and mainly through short game, but mainly through a mind. Having struggled and suffered as a young person was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me, because I knew when I came down the line, the last 9 holes of a championship, you had to have something special. And I must say this, with all the 18 majors and 165 tournaments I won, it was not me, it was a gift that was purely loaned to me by the man above. My father, who was a gold miner and a very poor man, never made more than £100 a month in his life, I told him I was going to be a world champion, and he said, "Oh, well, that's a mighty big task that you're talking about." He said, "If you do," he says, "try and have a brand." I had no idea what he was talking about. And a brand is important. Chanel is dead. It still exists. Many great brands exist today. My son is particularly interested in the brand. And so I came over to America, and they had a show called Have Gun Will Travel. A man dressed in black with 2 silver guns, and he went round with a card and he said, "You have a trouble? Call on me and it won't be double." And he looked after people, and I was so intrigued with that. And I thought, well, that's it, I'm from Black Africa. Wear black. And I became known as the Black Knight. And it's been a great asset, and financially also. It really means a great deal. It goes back a long time ago. In fact, 63 years ago, if I'm correct, that my brother went to war at the age of 17. And prior to him leaving, he stood there. And he said, "I probably won't come back, but promise me you'll exercise for the rest of your life." And I've just come from the gym right now at the age of 80. I still do 1,300 crunches, sit-ups, and still put the treadmill on at max and push 400 pounds with my legs. So I think of my brother almost every day and what he contributed to society, which all these men and women have valiantly done it. And it's something that I appreciate, because if it wasn't for them, we would not be enjoying the freedom that exists today. The Grand Day Out is a marvelous idea. And all I can say, as far as the RNA is concerned, what a body, what an organization, what they do worldwide, what they've done for this wonderful sport. And it's a great honor and privilege for me to be an honorary member of this great organization. And they've assured me, after 6 years of support, that they will continue to do this.